Welcome, fellow lovers of the weird and strange. This is Lance, your host of Legends of the Hidden Horde, where we explore the folklore behind the mythical creatures that stalk the dark corners of our globe. A huge thank you to all of you for tuning in. Your ears make these strange journeys possible. If you enjoy the show, please hit that subscribe button, leave me a quick review, and give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, or X. Your support truly makes a difference. Now, let's dive into the next story. The following is an original dark narrative inspired by documented Yupik oral traditions concerning the A-Mi-Kuk. It draws carefully from ethnographic accounts while remaining a work of creative storytelling. It is not a traditional story claimed as authentic, nor does it speak for Yupik communities. Variations exist across tellers and regions. The accounts emphasize respect for the living land and the sea rather than simple horror. Edge cases from the recorded lore: sea ambush, earth swimming, body invasion, human guise, multiplication when harmed, lake migration, and the guarded nest are woven in as they appear in the sources. This is episode 42, Amikuk. In the long dust of the late winter along the Bering coast, when the ice still held but the light had begun its slow return, a young hunter named Uyurak paddled alone. His older brother had gone inland after caribou and had not returned on the day expected. The family needed meat. Uyurak knew the rules the elders taught. Never travel far alone if the weather turned. Never mock the ice. Never speak carelessly of what lives beneath. Still, the need pressured him outward. The sea lay flat and gray under a sky the color of old bone. His kayak cut cleanly. Then the surface ahead bulged without wind. 4 long, hairless limbs unfolded from below. Slick, leathery, the color of wet seal hide left too long in the cold. They wrapped the kayak with the quiet certainty of kelp claiming a drowned tree. Uyurak felt the craft tilt, felt the water climb his chest. He struck out with his paddle. The limbs only tightened. The creature's body rose just enough for him to see the absence of hair, the thick rubbery skin, the way it moved as if the water itself were solid ground to it. He kicked free of the kayak as it went under and clawed onto a floating pan of ice. Behind him, the surface closed. Silence returned. He lay breathing hard, certain the danger had passed with the water. Then the ice beneath him vibrated. A low, irregular thump traveled upward through the frozen surface. The sound of something swimming hard through a denser medium. The Amikuk did not need open water. It moved through ice and earth with the same ease. Uyurak scrambled towards the shore. The thumping followed, always just under. When he reached solid ground, the vibration continued. The snow around his boots softened without melt. The surface became yielding, almost liquid, as if the creature swam rapid circles just beneath, loosening the world. His walking stick grew heavy in his hand. Fatigue climbed his legs. He felt something cold and fluid rise inside his own body, an intrusion, a swimming upward through flesh that left him weak and hollow. For a moment he understood the elder stories in which the Amikuk enters a person and stays, or leaps clean through so the victim simply lies down and does not rise again. He fell to his knees and did not move. The pressure lessened. The ground firmed. Whatever had been inside him withdrew. When he looked up, the snow was ordinary again. Only a long, shallow depression marked where something large had passed beneath and continued inland. That night in the Kazgik, the older men listened without interruption. One finally spoke of the times the Amikuk grows tired of its own shape. Then it walks as human. Called in some tellings Kamung El Rit, it pulls a sled across the ice, but only in a straight line, cannot turn. If you meet it, you sit with your back to it and keep silence. It will offer gifts of rising value, first a skin, then tools, then things of greater worth, testing whether you will speak and break the proper order. You wait until it has given everything it can give, or everything that was already in your mind. Only then do you rise and walk away without looking back. Uyuruk remembered the straight-line tracks he had seen earlier that season and had dismissed as the work of a solitary traveler. He also remembered the small nest-like structure of twigs and scraps of fur found near a drained lake that previous summer. The elders said the A-Mi-Kuk sometimes guard such nests, though they hold no eggs. The scraps of hide inside, if taken carefully and kept, could restore a torn skin or multiply a small piece into a whole pelt. But the nest is never empty of consequence. When the Amikuk leaves an inland lake, the channel it digs may drain the water to the sea. When it returns, the sea follows it back. Presence and absence both rearrange the land. In the days that followed, Uyuruk stayed closer to the village. He told no one of the full measure of what had entered him on the ice. Yet the weakness lingered in his bones. One clear morning, far out on the pack, he saw a lone figure pulling a sled in a perfect straight line towards the horizon. He did not call out. He sat with his back turned and waited in the cold until the figure had passed beyond sight. No gifts were left. Perhaps the creature had not noticed him. Or perhaps it had, and the silence itself was the only gift offered that day. Later still, when a hunter farther down the coast claimed to have shot a long, dark form rising from a lead in the ice. The story said the single creature became 8. They scattered in every direction through the water, through ice, through the soft tundra itself, until no one could say which path was the original. The land held more of them than before. Uyuruk never saw the A-Mi-Kuk clearly again, but he came to understand that the creature is not merely a predator of kayaks. It is the reminder that the boundary between sea and land, between solid and fluid, between the body and the world outside, is thinner than people prefer to believe. The ground is not a promise of safety. The ice is not a floor. The human form is not a permanent shape. What lives beneath can rise through any of them. In the years after, when the winters grew shorter and the ice less certain, the old accounts gained new weight. The A-Mi-Kuk had always moved through whatever medium presented itself. As the Arctic itself began to shift, ice thinning, permafrost softening, coastlines rearranging, the stories suggested that the old separations people relied upon would grow less reliable. The creature that treats Earth as water and water as Earth becomes a figure for a world in which those categories themselves are changing. The lesson is not fear alone, but attention. Walk carefully. Speak carefully. Remember that the living world is continuous and does not always respect the lines humans draw across it. Future generations will need the attention more, not less, as the surfaces they trust continue to move. The A-Mi-Kuk teaches that separation is often an illusion. Land and sea, body and environment, the solid and the permeable exist on a continuum that can be crossed without permission. The stories counsel humility before forces that do not share human categories of safety or boundary. In a time when climate is altering the physical medium of the Arctic, ice, ground, water, the older understanding that the world is fluid and responsive remains urgently relevant. Respect for those living systems is not sentiment. It is recognition that the medium itself can turn and claim what stands upon it. That's it for the story of A-Mi-Kuk. I appreciate you joining me. If you enjoyed the story, please hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Give me a follow on social media. And until next time, keep your eyes open. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows.